handed, CCA had the upper hand because it had available bed space
Right.
in a tight market. In the end, the district awarded a $6.8 million contract to CCA. The district's financial control board later conceded that CCA was the only company to bid on the contract.
Yep.
And these are the games that get played.
Well, we
And
had
it's a
this,
ripoff.
we had the same thing happen here in Connecticut, and we had the kid that got killed. They shipped him down to the Ridge. Okay, they had built a prison down there.
Yep.
In fact, we occasionally you occasionally play the
tape.
the tape, the video on your show up
And
the
we'll be
Ridge.
doing that again
And,
shortly.
and it's amazing what they did. And the poor kid from here, it was basically a baby, for crying out loud, and died there because of the treatment that had happened. Connecticut shipped out prisoners to, I believe that was in Virginia. I'm not sure.
Yes, Virginia, West Virginia.
I believe that's West Virginia. What a horrific situation. Okay, that we sent prisoners there, and this several died.
The kid didn't have the length of time that was required to go there, number one.
Oh yeah.
Number
right.
two, he just turned
He
21
just
years
turned
old by a
21.
week,
Right, yeah,
and, he ends up dead.
yeah. That was a horror story with that young man. I can't think of their name. I'm sorry if the family's watching. The
We'll
name
be
is
showing
dead,
it again.
but we're
We'll be showing it again within a couple of weeks.
We do play that here in your slot.
But here's something that's of interest that you've got to understand. The purpose of competitive bidding process is to help ensure that the taxpayers get the best service provided
Yeah.
at the most competitive rate. When these for-profit prisons operators obtain sole source contracts, the public usually winds up paying more than it would to house the inmates in a public-run facility. And you really, really have to get a copy of this document.
They scam. They get around this, okay, because normally you have to bid for things like this, but in emergency situations, they can circumvent that clause. So the state, okay, you're overcrowded, the judge says you got to get out 300 prisoners, they can go to one of these private contractors without bidding. Okay, and that's how they scam everybody. So that's why they build these prisons on speculation, because they know, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they're going to rip off the taxpayers. I mean, it's like it's horrible.
Outrageous.
It's absolutely horrible, and of what they're doing, at the cost of. It's the cost of the community. It's the cost of the taxpayer, because they take the individuals that are transferred and they abuse them and treat them. They've got this study here talks about the difference in the beatings that happen in the within the inmate population, the sexual abuse that happens with guards and everything else. This is an extensive study that was done, and I mean, I really am so proud. I am so proud that I'm an AFSCME member. The guards unions participated in this, to show what's going on.
You really have to throw some bouquets to AFSCME, because they did an awesome job
Absolutely.
in putting this report together.
Absolutely.
They did their homework, and they cut through all the propaganda and crap that's handed out. And the only thing I wish they would have done was identify the legislators that jumped in bed with these privatized places.
Oh well, they
accepted
did in
money from them.
Connecticut. They got O'Leary. They got him down. I don't know if you read, but
No, I mean in this report.
yeah,
It
it's
would
in
have been nice if they could point and say, this guy took money, increased sentencing, not to the benefit of the public, but to the benefit of the corporation.
Yeah.
So that they could make profit and screw the public.
Well, you'll find it in certain sections of the report where they talk about who the lobbyist was. Like in here in Connecticut, okay, at the governor's office, it was O'Leary, was getting paid by CCA. They got it down in here. He was getting.
put it in
Oh yeah, they got it in there. He was getting $3,500 a month. Okay, while he's working at the governor's office, and while he's lobbying the legislatures for harder sentences on crime, and trying to get the 3 strikes you're out
And
stuff.
2 women would
And
get
so-
a life sentence for $11.
For $11, so that
These
you
poor-
got them. Well, you keep them in longer. I mean, they've got stuff in which is really good in here, where some of these institutions were holding juveniles extra length of time so they could pick up $3,500 a person for profit. Had nothing to do, and they got them. I mean, they got them.
They got the 2 judges that were accepting money, putting children in juvenile institutions for profit.
For profit. I
that's-
imagine that.
That
This
is absolutely cold.
horrendous. I mean, like I say, this report.
Destroy that child's
is-
life.
This report is a fantastic report. You have to go on the AFSCME site. And again, for those who don't understand, AFSCME is the American Federation of State, what did I say? American Federation of State,
County,
municipal, and municipal employees. My God, I'm going to get shot. I've only been a member for 30 years and an organizer. Retired now, retired. Okay, but obviously I still work closely with the state, the council, and our local union right here in New London, and a lot of our folks follow the show, which is thank you. And of course we're going to vote for Dan Malloy, right? Just want to get a plug in for Dan while I'm on your show. Okay, but also with the mentally ill, I know that you were, you know what they're doing is just outrageous, you know. This report, I love this.
Well, what ends up happening is we criminalize mentally ill people. We slam them into privatized prisons, and the privatized prisons slam them into segregation units because they can't function in general prison population because of their mental illness. They don't receive medical treatment. They don't see the proper care, and the confinement exacerbates the mental illness, and then that individual is simply dropped into the streets. We had discussed before about Solitary Watch, and Solitary Watch has a bunch of great articles, and one of them is criminalizing mental illness. And again, what ends up happening is the privatized prisons jump on this and say that, you know, we can do it better than the state, and it's simply not true. All the evidence indicates it's not true. They do not save money. They merely hurt the system, make big profits, and screw everybody in the process. And then they bail out. And the state's stuck.
Yeah.
With all the garbage.
Oh yeah.
And we really got to put a stop to this kind of stuff. And it's so really important that you get a copy of this report. It will literally blow your mind.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you get it, I mean, share it. And grab your politicians and say, no more of this. We do not want any more of this crap. I mean, if Russia can do it, why can't we?
We're talking about here in the state. We have a chance now, given the economic crisis and things going on now. If we have a governor that gets in here and says, "Hey, look, let's look at what's
Enough is
going on
enough.
here. Enough is enough. Let's reduce some of these silly things that really should be at misdemeanor level, and get some people out of the prison. Reduce the cost factor. Okay, we don't need to get rid of jobs. You get rid of the job by
Nonviolent crimes do not belong in
They
prisons.
don't belong in there. Alcoholics don't
They
belong.
can serve much better doing community service, serve the community, give a person a sense of direction. Throwing them into a privatized prison without any programs, without any assistance, and then simply drop back into the street
Not
is total insanity.
It's definitely not smart on. It's not smart on crime.
It's being stupid on crime.
It's not smart on public safety. You're not protecting anybody, and so
All right, so we are going to be stopping for a moment, and we will be right back because the disc has to be changed.